Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 580, which is a pretty cool kind of milestone. 580 episodes. And this is being broadcasted live on YouTube and on Facebook, facebook.com/Joseph Clough's fan page. And also one I'd prefer you to go on to would be youtube.com/Joseph Clough. The reason being is I have some issues with Facebook when they kind of try to monetize, when they try to take down my streams saying that there's a content claim on it when it's literally just me speaking. That's happened a number of times and it's closed it off in the stream before. So ideally, youtube.com/Joseph Clough. But in this episode, we're going to talk about a few different subjects. And it comes down to celebration. I feel like we get into this world where there's a lot of fake celebration, or, you know, like the social media, and people are kind of just putting things out there and not totally happy within themselves. That kind of weird aspect to it. But then on the other hand, society doesn't always make us want to celebrate because it may be directly linked to that, like ego and things. And I think it's so important to celebrate your successes, no matter how big or small. In fact, when I do my group coaching calls with my program, or people enrolled in my program, before we start every call, we get into celebrations first because we want to be able to honor the celebration. Because part of transformation, I really believe, comes from validation. Like, you've got to validate the things that you do. You got to validate who you are. Because if you go really deep into it, you're like, look, I've got to understand that there are things about me which I've been ignoring. I've been ignoring some of the things because I feel bad to celebrate, or I feel that I may be judged, or I fear that I might be rejected, or that people won't understand me. You see, that happens a lot. And especially if we come from a place of insecurity, which a lot of people who listen to my work, obviously we're going through psychological things. We want more success, but sometimes we feel like an imposter. We feel like there's that inner critic speaking in our mind saying, who are you to get that goal, or to achieve that dream, or to get that job, be in that relationship. So that actually just makes it worse, because that inner critic, the imposter syndrome, the feeling of not feeling worthy, deserving, good enough, or capable, definitely means we do not feel like celebrating. But if we break things down, I really, really know that people want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to be felt. Seen, heard, felt. And when we're not expressing our celebrations, and I'll tell you when and where and when not to, by the way, because that's important, because we can get crushed by certain people. But it is important to honor yourself and honor your celebrations, no matter how big or small. We've got to break free of the pattern that we've got to keep ourselves to the inside in the fear of ridicule, fear of failure, fear of rejection, if we were to celebrate the things that we're doing good. And even on the inside, even if you don't share, it's important to be able to express your gratitude for what you've done and who you are. Because when you get into that state of gratitude, you are in an open state. You're not in resistance. You could still be in conflict because we may have the issue, but it's definitely the gateway of transformation, of being grateful for who you are. To have gratitude for what you do have. When you get to that place, when you start to realize who you are as an individual, you'll actually start to be grateful for what is coming your way as well. And that adds a different paradigm. Imagine waking up every single day, that you're celebrating the day, you're celebrating yourself, and you're going, I'm grateful for all the good and great things coming my way. Now, that sends a signal. Sends a signal to your unconscious mind that you're looking for good things. You're looking for more things to be grateful for. That is the part of the brain, which is the reticular activating system. So whatever your attention goes, it will try to seek out more of it. So when we're in that state of gratitude for what we have, but also what is coming our way, our brain is wired up to look for more of the same. Same thing as to why anxiety is an issue. We're looking for all the things that we do not want, and therefore our brain goes in this negative loop and cycle, and it goes, I need to be more anxious. So gratitude is a great way of transforming, but also the gratitude of the celebration of self. Because we do want to be seen, we do want to be heard, and we do want to be felt. It's part of the human experience. Now, let's just say you go ahead and you shout out to the world that, look, I'm so happy I achieved this goal, or whether it be big or small. You've also got to be careful who you share with. In the same way, I say you must protect your dreams. Sometimes not everyone needs to know your dream. One, because it's not always anyone's business. They may not be fully invested, but also they may be negative and disregard your dream because they are thinking from a different mindset. Maybe they have limiting beliefs about themselves and they project that onto you. So in the exact same way that you must protect your dream, you must also protect who you celebrate with. Some people won't get you. You want to be able to be a part of a group. And that's why I said, when my group, my private client group, we all celebrate because we're in a safe community. It feels good because then they get validation. And the other thing is that every time someone celebrates in our ecosystem, it actually causes us to look for that within ourselves as well. It's almost like asking a question. When you have an idea or a different question, other people start to have further questions or further ideas to build upon the foundation of that learning. Having just one idea and one question just to one person is not going to get you anywhere. But if you start to generate ideas, we call that generative learning. More ideas breed more ideas. In the same way of celebrations, we want to honor our celebrations and know that it's okay to celebrate to the right people in the right way, in the right environment, and also allow others to celebrate. Have there been times in your life, maybe because we felt a bit of insecurity, maybe we're in a bit of a comparison conflict when someone does celebrate? And then there's that part of you being a little bit jealous or a little bit bitter. Well, people will be like that, but understand if you are capable of doing it yourself, you want to make sure that if you want to be heard, seen, felt, and heard, you must be there for that other person as well. That is why it's great to build community. It's great to be with a like minds. We've said it time and time again, you are the sum of the closest people around you, or the 5 closest people around you. So it's important that you surround yourself when you're doing those celebrations with the right people, but also be the example of the exact same thing. So I ask you right here, right now, what can you celebrate today? Who can you share these thoughts and ideas with that will allow you to express those wins? Do you have a community? If not, it's time to look for one. It's time to step up. It's time to look within yourself and to honor yourself and start to condition yourself into acknowledging there are parts or aspects of your life that are worth celebrating. Give yourself permission to celebrate. We've always been told not to celebrate in many different ways, and sometimes, as I said, like the social media stuff, everyone's like just boasting and bragging in the Instagram non-reality, that kind of stuff, all the filters. and it creates a disconnect. But I think once we start to get down to the basics and really celebrating and honoring yourself and honoring other people's celebrations, you have an opportunity to grow together as that community. It may be one person, you might get to the 5 or 20, 30. I've been part of groups, like say business development groups, when there used to be like 25 of us in a room, and we'd be generating ideas, and that would be forms of wins and forms of feedback and forms of growth. But being in that community allowed you to feel like you weren't alone. One of the human needs is connection. Okay? One of the human needs is connection. And when we start to honor ourselves and celebrate, we're connecting with the right people too. But please make sure that you also do the same. You want to be able to receive their celebrations. You want to celebrate with them as if they were your own celebration. Have you ever been so happy for someone? Like they did something and you're like, that is amazing. That's the attitude that you want to get into. We got to step out the field of jealousy, the feelings of envy, the comparison. We live in a world of comparison these days. Only compare yourself from where you were yesterday, from where you were a month ago, from where you were a year ago. Forget about everyone else. That's none of your business. We've got to get out of that comparison conflict and instead start to see people and connect with people who will protect your dreams, but also protect your celebrations. So what can you celebrate today? Can you celebrate that you're here, that you're ready to learn? Can you celebrate something that you've done today, no matter how big and small? Because just think, if you start to build up these wins, what else does it do? Ask yourself, if I start to acknowledge the celebrations or the things that I'm winning at, or even learning at, because maybe you didn't win, but you learned, which caused you to grow, it caused you to get better because of it. You see, even in the failure, the so-called failure, there is the learning. If you learn, you never fail. You just keep on becoming more resilient. You start to be more adaptable, more flexible in your thoughts, your feelings, and therefore you get closer to your goal. So when you do start to celebrate, when you start to connect with people and those wins, what does that do? Well, the hidden great benefit of this is that it creates more self-certainty. It gives you more self-belief. In the past, you've probably been disregarding your wins. In fact, you've probably been thinking, I don't want to celebrate it because I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy, I'm not capable. You may disregard your performance because we have a low self-esteem, a low limiting belief. But if you start to celebrate, even to yourself at first, you write it down. I think journaling is an amazing thing to do. Definitely if you do it the kinesthetically, pen, paper, traditional, or at least one of the eco-friendly ones like the Rocket book, which I have, which you can like clean off and reuse it all the time. But you're still using that kinesthetic. If you're writing down those wins that you're having and you start to look at them, it builds more certainty. And do you know what? You know when I said one of the human needs is connection? Well, another human need is going to go into the subject of certainty. As humans, we feel like we want to have an essence of certainty. If we're totally uncertain, it doesn't feel good. So there is a need for us to find a level of certainty in something. Now that certainty can come from many different ways. That certainty can come from a faith, it comes from communities, it can come from spirituality, it can come from just your own biological certainty. I don't care what level of certainty, that's your truth. And I respect and celebrate your truth no matter what it is. But one of the human needs also is getting certainty. Now, when you're writing down your wins and you're celebrating, even as you're learning from your day by doing, look, let's break it all down. You're doing your gratitude for who you are and what's coming your way in that journal. You are writing down your wins and your celebrations. There's not even sharing with anyone, which is really beneficial. There's just an individual process, a sacred process, where you're getting it outside your mind and you'll put it on paper, which frees up your mind, by the way. I know you will be so much freer if you start to journal in general, because you're getting ideas out of here, and when they're on paper, part of the ideas leave because you have a level of certainty that you've understood or tried to articulate it. But when you're starting to celebrate, build up those wins in that diary of yours or your journal, then you are creating more certainty. You're building your belief. Now, I remember doing a class on this once, and it was almost like, imagine in your mind there's a tabletop, okay? A tabletop. Now, that tabletop is your goal. It is your outcome. Maybe you want to earn $10,000 per month. Maybe you want to do 25, 50. Maybe you want that promotion. Maybe you want that relationship. Whatever it is, that goal and outcome would represent, or the tabletop would represent that goal that you have. Now imagine that tabletop having no legs. What is a tabletop with no legs? Well, it's just really a big piece of wood, right? That's not really a table. What makes it a table is the legs underneath. Now, stay with me, it sounds very weird. Well, the legs are going to be the foundation. The legs are going to be your beliefs. They're going to be your celebrations. So the more you start to prop up that goal and outcome, that tabletop, with new foundations of self-certainty, of celebration, feeling heard, feeling seen, being grateful for what you have and what is coming your way, that tabletop is being firmly placed upon those new belief systems that you have. You need to build your tabletop of self-belief, of self-certainty. It's a weird analogy, but it makes sense. You begin to start to journal. You begin to write down. You begin to realize that yes, we do seek certainty out of life, and one way of being certain is being certain in the things that you're doing good and great, being certain in the things that you can be grateful for. Think about it. We feel more lost, I should say, when we have a lack of certainty, when we feel disconnected, when we're not being seen, heard, or felt. These are part of the human needs. So celebrating your wins and successes, which creates certainty, which allows you to have more gratitude, which allows you to then live out some of these human needs that we have. Now, as a side subject, one of the other human needs is the need for some level of uncertainty. There's got to be a balance. Sometimes because it makes it more exciting. If it's just normal and so certain, it's not that interesting. That's why goals will stretch us. That's why our dreams feel very far away. It's not always that certain. There's things that we've got to learn along the way, tools we've got to pick up, we've got to grow. So that's a level of uncertainty because it causes us to move, it causes us to grow. Just so you're aware, uncertainty is okay in the right dose. If you're just uncertain and it creates anxieties, worries, and doubts, if you're not honoring yourself, therefore you feel disconnected, you are going to become less certain. But when you begin to be more certain by the gratitude, by the wins, honoring yourself, honoring other people, having that space to connect. One thing I've always loved is the idea of masterminds. Now, in this context, it's like in business. Because being in business is very lonely. Just as another analogy, another example. Being in business can be a very lonely business because it's all on you. You're the entrepreneur, you're the business owner. Not everyone understands your dreams. Not everyone understands what it's like to do this, or the challenges, or whatever it is. Oh, you're your own, you can do what you want. Well, usually you work more hours than other people because they get to clock off at the end of the day. So I used to be a part of these mastermind groups when, like I was saying earlier, 25 of us 3-4 times a year would get together and would generate ideas. We would validate other people's ideas. We would be seen, heard, and felt. And that group of us created a synergy. That community allowed us to feel like what? That we belong. We belong? What's the other word for that? Like the post tense, past tense. I don't know. You know what I mean, though. It made us feel like we belonged to a tribe, a community, because we were celebrating and honoring. Now, let's go back to that word. We said tribe right there. If you think about it, if we go back in history, we've always been part of tribes, communities. They used to start off very, very small. Right? Because that was our family, that was our community, that was our village. And the village would work together as a community. Now, of course, as things have grown, we've gone into cities to like, with their counties together being like 17 million people. And we lose connection. You think there's more people, but there's less connection. Same thing with social media and the internet. We think there should be more connection, but more often it brings a more of a disconnection, especially when we treat it wrongly. But if we go back to the community aspect, we've always had that throughout history. We've always had that sense of wanting to feel like we belong, to be connected, to be seen, to be celebrated, to be lifted up. One thing I've always said in relationships, make sure you're with someone who builds you up, who will celebrate you as much as you will do the exact same to them. Because it gives them the platform, it adds to the table, those table legs, it gives the foundation to that tabletop. So to build your table, create the certainty, celebrate, and do what has to be done. Right now, we've come up with lots of different ways of doing this. Number one, you want to make sure that you realize we have that inner human need to be seen, heard, and felt, to have a self-validation, a validation from the world. Now, we shouldn't just crave external validation because that means it's just beyond us. It means we can never be happy. Some people do that, right? They always look for external validation because they don't have it within themselves, and it makes them needy. It makes them codependent, right? And that's not where we want to be heading. We want to have that internal validation, that internal celebration, but also to celebrate with those people who get you, who will protect your celebrations like they will protect your dreams, who will lift you up because they love you, support you. They don't have to understand. It's nice if they did, but they don't have to. But as long as they celebrate you and that you feel honored in the same way that you would do the exact same thing, that is where we're heading. Now, the how, we know the why, we also know a bit of the what there as well, but the how that we do it is through that journaling. Build up the self-certainty. Build up those celebrations, build up those learnings. You'll be looking back and going, actually, I'm looking back. I'm not comparing myself to others now. I'm just comparing myself to where I was last week. And all those celebrations, they're compelling me forward. They are driving me forward. They are motivating me. They're causing me to feel better than I ever have. That's one of the keys. To only compare yourself from where you were yesterday, 1 month, 1 year ago, and so on, compared to other people. That's the growth. But you're putting down the learnings, you're putting down all the things which need to be done. And it will cause you to grow as a person. So honor yourself. Validate yourself before you seek external. But when you get to that point, surround yourself with people who understand you, who get you. How do you do this? Well, you could go into a program like I've paid into very, very significant and expensive masterminds. Was it worth it? Absolutely. 100% worth it. It was an investment. Perfect. I loved it. But other things you can do is like meetup.com. You can find your own group online. There are servers, there are Facebook groups, there are, like, you can find the people who connect to. You can seek out those people. Does mean that you have to assume responsibility to do so, but it's all there. There's always someone out there who will get you. And guess what? They seek the same thing. They want to feel validated. So become a team. Realize you are the sum that you surround yourself with. So make sure you're adding more people on your side who lift you up and allow you to grow, allow you to express your opinion. That's where we're heading. So just remember, it's a human need to celebrate, to be seen, heard, and felt. That's the main takeaway that we're after here. That's what we're after. And ask yourself, what can you celebrate today? What can you be grateful for what you have? What can you be grateful for what is coming your way? And who can you either seek out or reach out to who will support you, but in the same way, be the person for them? Sometimes you will need to invest, right? That's part of the thing, like the business groups I was a part of. You do need to invest sometimes to get that level of attention if that's what it is, but not all the time. Maybe it's just like $10 a month or per meetup or $5, whatever it is. We've got to just get to that point of understanding, look, it's time to celebrate. It's time for us to step up, to honor ourselves. When you celebrate, you start to reconnect with your unconscious mind. You start to recondition it. You start to build upon it. You start to get that belief table going. You get that momentum. And then you will start to go up that mountain. It might be hard in the beginning, but that momentum will be so powerful that you'll be looking forward to it. Imagine waking up every day and you're like, I'm looking forward to this day. Like, you are ready to take it on because you've celebrated, you've spent time cultivating your thoughts and honoring yourself and looking for the good in others, understanding about their intentions and your intentions. You are going to start to build. You're going to start to build connections. You're going to start to build connections on the inside, but also with those in your life. Be the example. Reach out, help someone. And I really believe that you will love every single moment of it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, if you are in business or you want to be able to level up your career and you want to let go of the imposter syndrome, you want to let go of all self-doubt, the inner critic, go to josephclough.info/power. That's josephclough.info/power. It's a masterclass. It's like 35 minutes. You watch it, nothing to be sold on. I'm selling nothing on that masterclass. I might be selling you ideas or thoughts, but no financial transaction to just watch the masterclass. And there's nothing to pay for at the end of it. But at the end of that masterclass, there may be an opportunity to apply for my 8-week program, fully customized. It is world class. Custom hypnosis sessions, one-to-one group. It gets everything. Like you said, the community, connection. In fact, tomorrow I'm running my one of the calls, and my father Paul Clough takes the other ones as well. We alternate. Great to be in business with a like mind, being a family member too. But yeah, go to josephclough.info/power, and on top of that, if you just want to stick with the app, just go to freehypnosis.app. freehypnosis.app, and therefore you can create your own custom hypnosis sessions. We're going to put some new upgrades out. I'm going to try and get some new hypnosis sessions out there as well in the next 4 to 8 weeks. And yeah, you can go ahead, just transform as you sleep as well. Obviously, it's not as specific as my main program because you're not getting the one-to-one attention, but it's still a good solution. And if you enjoy it, please go ahead and leave a review. And that means we can help and support other people. That's what I'm here for. That's creating a community. And this is being broadcasted live on YouTube. And already we've been doing this for a month or two, and we built a community. I know the people who show up. I look forward to them. So be a part of the community. Go to youtube.com/Joseph Clough. And therefore, you'll be able to go on these live calls. They happen on Mondays, they happen on Wednesdays, they even happen on Fridays. Monday is more Monday motivation. Wednesdays is live hypnosis. Friday, like this one, is more chill out and more relaxed. Kind of winding down, but still upgrading our mind. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and just always know that you deserve to be honored, you deserve to be seen, heard, and felt. Doesn't mean everyone has to get you. That's okay as well. We can disagree. That's not an issue at all. We're not always going to like everyone, but we can still honor them. But yes, absolutely. Hope you enjoy this, and I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Many thanks, and goodbye.